that I'd know this and that I would deal with this in my house, right?
Yeah.
Well, I blew up a Sony video camera because of a ground loop.
Oh, you didn't.
I did. Because in my office, I didn't have a plug. I didn't take the plug for the camera from where my computer was. I took it from where the TV was that it was normally hooked into. And I ran a line up and over the door and had my VCR there and everything, and I put the camera there and plugged it into the end of this cable that came up and over the door and back into the video capture card on my computer. And after about 4 hours, it didn't work anymore. And it wasn't until after I got it back from Sony and found out what they'd told me was wrong with it that I realized that I had plugged it into a different circuit than what I had my computer into, and there was a ground loop.
Different.
That's all it takes.
So what you want, if you're doing something like that, you want everything plugged into the same circuit.
Plug
so
it all into the same circuit.
And never plug the vacuum cleaner into the same circuit at the same time, because when you start that 12 amp vacuum cleaner,
you get a big spike.
Now
today's computers are a lot more immune to things like that. In fact, most of the computers today, my laptop here,
have a,
this will take 220 volts as well as 110. You don't have to have an adapter. You just change the plug on it. You know, it's one of these ones with a universal.
I understand,
and you can take it, and it'll run 50 cycle, 60 cycle, 110, 220, 240. It doesn't care, because the stuff inside this is an electronic pulse power supply. Totally different from the kinds of power supplies that we had in the electronics 10, 15 years ago.
Sure.
10 or 15 years ago, before the PC really got going, you had transformers and rectifiers and big capacitors and all, and your power supply was huge.
Yep.
This power supply, something that puts out the amount of power that my laptop takes, which is about 60 or 70 watts, which, I mean, it doesn't sound like a lot, but it is actually.
Well,
but putting it out at, you know, the 2 or 3 different voltages that put it out, you'd have a power supply that'd be almost the size of my laptop.
Yep. And
it would hum. And it just, you know.
Like, remember the hum from the Lionel electric train?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Same all sorts of things.
Yeah.
So the digital rag it's been where I've had my collected writings in the technology industry, really, since about 1994. Well, back then...
Sounds like we should publish it, or you should publish it as a book.
Well, yeah.
Why not?
There's been several years in between that I haven't written very much.
It's just the same kind of thing as the Hamburg Hacker and stuff, remember?
We could do that. We'll do it as an ebook and see if somebody will buy it. But...
Nick will buy it. He's fascinated.
Sure. Well, you can read it for free online. When I finally figured out that people were actually reading this, I went to go and register digitalrag.com or digital-rag.com, or any of the
some
various
combination
things.
That would make
Well, it turns out that digital rag is in fact the trade name of a type of paper.
Well, really?
And the company that sold that paper had registered that domain, so I couldn't get it. A year and a half ago, they must have let it lapse, because I got digital-rag.com and .net. So I now have digital-rag.com. I've been doing a digital rag on .pacdat.net, because Pacdat has been my domain for years, Pacific Data Capture. But now I have digital-rag.com, and as of January 1st, my New Year's resolution was to write an article a day, and I have so far written an article a day.
Oh, that's too much.
Well, some of them aren't very big. Some of them are, they're fairly large.
But Richard, that one that you wrote, that was back in '92, if I remember, '93, the one on the ground loops.
That's right, and actually it was written for Unix Views.
I know, that's right.
I still have a copy of Unix Views. It was a little quarter-page pamphlet that, and I can't even remember his name.
We used to have them on on our spring, and I can still when I had this very senior certified professional the electrician, the whole thing, the guy that owns a shop, and I'm getting to run all these lines, he still said, well, what do you want
isolated grounds for?
For the
for the
photocopier.
Yeah.
And of course he says, that's not a computer. And of course
it's got more computers in it than anything.
that photocopier costs more money than any 20 computers in the house.
That's right.
Altogether.
And it is a computer.
Because it's a 20, well, it's got like 5 computers in it,
right.
6 or 7.
That's right.
It's a major computer, the biggest one that we've got, and the most expensive one. And here's an electrician that said he specialized in setting up offices and so on.
And he doesn't realize that these printers are, in fact, computers.
The photocopier, in particular,
yep.
because this, you know, it's a big one, scanner, fax, the whole damn thing, even though I don't have it all hooked up, that the photocopier is a big computer too. And these guys just don't recognize it.
Yep. And they're supposed to be professionals. I've never got a designation for an electrician or anything like that. And I know more about it than a lot of these guys.
Well, I do.
But I know it from the theoretical point of view. I don't know the rules and regulations. I got caught on that once. I did some wiring in my house and ended up having to take it out. Because I mean, I got it inspected. And I'm allowed to do it in my own home.
Yes, you are.
But I put the wrong wire in for lamps in the ceiling. This was at a point.
Too small wire?
No, no. It was the insulation. Now, this was during the time when they changed from Lumex, which was a almost a creosote-based
Yep, I remember that.
covering around the wires, to plastic.
Yeah.
And they had a special kind of plastic called 90-degree plastic, which wouldn't shrink when it was subjected to the heat of an incandescent light in the ceiling, because it was above this heat source, and I didn't put the right wire in there. Well, it turns out today it's all
the wire
all the plastic that you get is basically this 90-degree stuff. Well, this was special stuff. It was almost double the price of the regular stuff. So, you know, this is back in the days when plastic was really just starting to come into its fore for electrical wiring and things like this. It took a long time to get into the house.
Well, of course, when we were wiring Capilano Mall, remember, we had to put all of our plastic-covered wiring into tubes.
Into tubes. That's right, because it's an industrial space. Now, do you remember the other thing that we did that got screwed up by the installers?
The carpet.
The carpet.
Yes.
We bought special anti-static carpet. And the guys we bought it from said, we know how to install this stuff, and so they put it in. What they didn't do was they didn't ground it. You're supposed to lay ground mesh under the carpet so that the carpet actually touches this.
Touches that and touches
it's between the carpet and the glue.
Yeah.
Okay, so they glued the carpet down on the cement.
Yeah.
And our office had worse static problems than the crap carpet that was out in the hall. So
even though we paid for
we paid copious, well, they couldn't take it up, or more to the point, we didn't press them hard enough and say, well, you know, you screwed up on the installation, it's your problem. But no, we tried to do it right.
They had superpowers.
Yes,
and we had. Well, remember, we also had the most wiring that anybody had ever installed in an office in their life. It was 64 circuits. And 25 phone lines at every desk.
Yes.
Every office had 50 phone lines in it because there were
we
had two identical
25
stations.
pair phone cables.
Two identical stations in each office.
Yep.
And we'd moved in for about an hour and a half, and we were running extension cords. Remember that?
I remember that.
We thought we had enough power.
Well, we had enough power. We just didn't have it in the right places.
Well, we thought we designed everything. I mean, we had 32 built-in things to plug our computer wires in.
And this was all serial terminals.
All serial terminals.
We wired the place for serial terminals, and then had to go back and rewire it for Ethernet eventually. Or no, we moved out before we
never
did that.
We never did rewire
we moved
that
to
one for
to.
We even when we went to Park Royal, we still used the serial cables.
Yep, that's right.
Wasn't for a while before we actually got around to hooking up because we were Unix.
That's right.
Unix, SCO, Open Desktop, all the different varieties, and we still run a Linux server.
Yep.
So let's just
get
back to the digital rag.
The digital rag. I've been writing, as I said, I've been writing an article a day. We started talking in our new series here. We started talking about the anti-counterfeiting terror or trade agreement and things like that.
We did mention that at the very start of this.
That's right. I made a 4-part series that's up on the digital rag about that. and it's there. You can go in and